Hey, good evening, and welcome back to episode number 6 of 2A Talking Tactical. Again, my name is John, and I'm your host. I first want to apologize for waiting too long to pop out another podcast. I've been trying to get some information together, and every time I get ready to put something out, something's changing in the 2A world, as most of you probably know. Also, on episode number 6, I'm going to try the video part of it, pop that up on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, 2A Talking Tactical. It's been a good few minutes since I put the last video out, so we're going to give that a shot. So I'm kind of multitasking here, so bear with me. Got a lot to catch up on. There's a lot going on in the United States as far as the Second Amendment, assault weapons ban, or bans, large capacity magazine bans, of course, the pistol brace ban, SBR, and all that stuff. So I'm going to try to pop out 2 podcasts, maybe 2 videos. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. First of all, want to bring you up to date on the issue up in New York. So the Supreme Court of the United States is not intervening at this time. They're going to let it play out in the courts and see how that goes before they intervene. So right now, the Concealed Carry Improvement Act, CCIA is they're calling it, is still on the go. Obviously, there's a lot of unhappy people. So I'm going to try not to jump around here. So on the SBR and the pistol brace, I just looked. The time is 10:15 p.m. on Thursday, January the 19th. It is not in the Federal Register yet. Don't know when it's going to be put in there. So one of the things when I was reading the rule, I'm not going to call it a law because it's not a law, but one of the things that I read when I was reading the rule, some of this may apply to you, some of it may not. But anyway, if you are an FFL holder and you have a SBR and or with a pistol brace in your possession, you need to get rid of that before this drops in the Federal Register. If you're a pawnbroker and you have one or any, you need to be notifying the owner and let them know what's coming. And it is up to them, because my understanding, and I may be wrong on this, double check behind me, but my understanding is that if you are in possession of an SBR or a firearm with a stabilizing brace on it, once this drops in the Federal Register, you're not going to be able to transfer and or sell. So you're basically going to be stuck with it. I'm not exactly sure how ATF is going to handle with the FFLs. I know right now the tentative plan is after it drops in the register, you're going to have 120 days to do, I think it's up to one of 4 things, maybe 5. One of them is turn it in. 2 is change the barrel out to a 16-inch or longer. 3 is to destroy it. I think number 4, and these are not in order, but number 4 is to take the stabilizing brace off and fix the firearm where one cannot be reattached. And then I forget what the other one is, but anyway, I know everybody's saying what they will and won't do, and that's fine. I'm guilty of that. I'm not going to voice my opinion on social media, which brings me to this. So I started a Twitter page, 2A Talking Tactical, and I started following some people. I'm not going to mention any names, but there was one individual that basically says I'm not complying and I'm not registering, and he tagged ATFHQ on Twitter. So I was kind of shocked about that. Until then, this individual was not on their radar. When you tag an agency like that, or any agency, regardless of what the matter is about, you're notifying them. They're getting a notification that you have tagged them. And with everything that's going on, especially with the ATF and the federal government, when you tag somebody like that, they're going to be looking to see what you're saying. We all know the algorithms within Google, YouTube, uh, any other video platform, social media. The algorithms are picking up on this stuff. So for this individual to say what he said and tag ATF headquarters, that was kind of bold. Number one, I'm not an attorney. I'm not telling you what to do, what not to do. But I'll just say this: it's not very bright to be saying what he said and tagging ATF HQ in his Twitter post. So anyway, social media is it can help you. It can help you with business. It can help you with getting certain things out, certain agendas. So it can do you some good, but it can also hurt you. So I'll be curious to find out what happens with this individual later on down the road. So anyway, just be careful what you post. So moving on. So like I said, as of right now, the rule has not dropped in the register. So I don't know when it's going to drop. Um, I think that's everybody's guess. So I've got a friend of mine who is an ATF agent. Um, and he called me the other day and just to check in and chit chat for a little bit. And you know, some of you may or may not know, but I've worked in law enforcement, and I met this individual a couple years ago, helping somebody else. But anyway, we were talking, and he was like, "John, what's going on?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, what the hell's happening?" And I said, "Well, I was going to call you the other night and rib you." I said, "But I figure you're catching enough flack." And he's like, "No, man." He said, "We've been working a big case for the last 3 months." He said, "I'm not hearing anything." So we got to talking about the SBR and the pistol brace rule. And come to find out, they have not even received legal update. For those of you who don't know, legal update is when there's a law changed or whether it be a new law or update to a law or whatever the case may be. It's called a legal update, and they put that out to notify these law enforcement officers, whether it be on the federal level or a local level. They put it out so that they know what's going on. He said they've not even gotten anything. So one of his colleagues called somebody, and they were like, "Oh yeah, well we haven't got around to letting y'all know yet." So anyway, some of them are not happy. So anyway, none of us are happy about it. I get that, but also understand it's not all the agents. It's not their fault. Um, they're not the ones doing this. At the end of the day, they've still got to put food on their table and keep a roof over their head. Sometimes in life we don't like what we have to do, and sometimes people walk away, sometimes they don't. So anyway, I'll just leave it at that. But don't. I'm asking you, don't be pointing fingers at individual ATF officers, regardless of what capacity they're in, whether it be the enforcement side, whether it be on the paperwork side, or whatnot. It's not them. It's way on up above their pay grade. I can promise you that. So anyway, I kind of updated them on that, and we talked a little bit, and some of them don't like it either, but it is what it is. So anyway, along with all that, right now, you've got the big issue up in Illinois with Governor Pritzker, where he has done the assault weapons ban, and he went on the news media last week and was basically saying, and I'm summarizing this, I went over it in the last podcast, but he basically said that he's leaving it up to state police to enforce this law. So at the time when I did that podcast, there were, I think there was 11, 12, 13 sheriffs out of 102. I'm looking at my notes, out of 102 counties that said that they were not going to enforce this. So jump forward a week, and as of yesterday, I haven't looked today, but as of yesterday, there were 84 county sheriffs that said that they would not enforce this assault weapons ban. 84 out of 102 counties. Then we've got 3 counties that are on the book saying that they will enforce it. Then we've got 4 that are they don't necessarily agree with the law, but they've not said whether they will or will not enforce it. And got 11 that are kind of on the fence. They really haven't said either way. So anyway, so we'll see what happens there. So along that same line, a different state, but I see what they're doing now after seeing what they did in Illinois. So Washington State, this is what they're doing. So they've got 2 bills on the table, HB 1143 and HB 1144. So I know every state's different as far as the requirements for purchasing a firearm and whatnot. But Washington, HB of 1143 is setting requirements. You know, they got to do a permit. Basically, what we have to do in North Carolina, you got to have a permit, which means you got to fill out the paperwork and do a background check, do a mental health background check, and all that. I don't really, I get the part of it. We shouldn't have to do it. But I guess this is the way it's always been in North Carolina. So it's kind of like if you're used to it, and that's kind of like the way you're brought up, you know, it's not a big deal. So to me, that's really not a big deal. But 1144, HB 1144. So if you go and look, there's a website that you can look at all the legislative bills. So if you go and look at HB 1144, what they've done, they have the original bill, and then they have struck through probably 75 to 80% of it and reworded it. What I'm seeing on that basically is taking the responsibility from the county sheriff or the police chief, whichever the individual resides in, whether it be in the city limits or out in the county. Before, it was up to the city police chief if you lived in the city, or the county sheriff if they lived in the county. Well, now what the governor or what they're doing in Washington is they're putting it solely on state police. Now, some of you may ask why they're doing that. Well, state police, highway patrol, whatever you want to call it. North Carolina's highway patrol. I think Virginia state police. Different states call it different things. So what they do is putting it under the state police or the state law enforcement. That is under direct control of the governor. So if I was state police, state trooper, whatever you want to call it, whatever Washington calls it, and the governor tells me, "Hey, here's an assault weapons ban. I'm making you, having you enforce it." Well, if I don't enforce it, then the governor can dismiss me. It's not up to the sheriff. It's not up to the police chief. It's up to the governor. Obviously, if the governor signs it, the governor's backing it. So you see where that's going there. I hope this don't happen, but I would not be surprised if other states don't start following suit and rewriting the bills, putting the responsibility on the state police. So we'll see what happens there. Another thing, and I don't have it directly in front of me, but another thing, and I'm kind of surprised to see this, is South Carolina. Yesterday was January the 18th. Yesterday, and it's dated 1/18/2023, there was a bill dropped in South Carolina. It is an assault weapons type ban, and it is a large capacity magazine type ban. So they're dropping that. And it looks like more and more states are doing this. I think I read earlier right now also that there are 17 states that are in favor of suing gun manufacturers for different reasons. So this is snowballing, and it's snowballing fast. So kind of jumping back to the SBR and the pistol brace rule, some of you may be aware that the bump stock rule or ban was overturned in the state of Texas. So with the SBR and the pistol brace issue, it, apples and oranges to a degree, but then it's oranges and oranges to another degree. But the gist of it is that, what, 3 years ago, bump stocks were illegal, and then after the tragedy out in Las Vegas, Donald Trump was under pressure to change that, so he did. So it's kind of like ATF changed their mind. Well, on the SBR and the pistol brace issue, ATF total has changed their mind 5 times. 3 of the 5 are, yeah, they're perfectly fine, they're legal. And it's only now that they are being pushed, and I'll just say this political push to change it back. So I think some people are saying that, know more than I do. They're saying, this is going to fall dead on the floor. It's not even going to get anywhere. There's I think it's a senator in Virginia. He has written a bill. It's part of one of the first lawsuits to hit on the SBR and pistol brace ruling. I've read it. It's pretty cut and clear on what what his argument is, and in all honesty, the man's right. So we'll just have to wait and see. So I also want to take a minute and give a shout out to a couple of my sponsors. I think I said in the last podcast, Mantis X. I reached out to them. They are sending me the Mantis X10 system. They're all out at SHOT Show, so they should be coming back probably either today or tomorrow. But anyway, I was told that I should have it by the middle of next week, so I'm going to do some videos on that. If you're not familiar with Mantis X, they have developed a dry fire training system. It works with an app, and then on your tablet or phone, it measures, it can measure your pistol draw. It kind of keeps up with the tracking of your firearm. When you're getting ready to pull the trigger, shoot, dry fire, whatever you want to call it. It kind of tells you, what you're doing wrong so that you can correct it. Not necessarily what you're doing right, but what you're doing wrong so you can correct it. When I was talking to my friend okay, I'm going to try to edit this back. But anyway, when I was talking to my friend at ATF, he was telling me that they actually use that system and it's helped their failure rate. I think he said about 80%. Um, so so for those of you who don't know, you can attach the system to, say, the magazine of your firearm or to the butt of your firearm if you've got a revolver, and you can do pistol draws. It keeps up with your performance on pistol draw, your times, and as you bring the gun up, it's recording all that. How quick you get on target. It measures your. He said it measures your trigger pull. When you're pulling the trigger, whether you're pulling to the left or to the right, up, down, if you're moving, whatever the case may be. Anyway, it's recording the whole time, and you can go back and look at that, and you can work on where you need to work on it. So I thought that was pretty cool that the ATF is using it. Also, again, they're all out at SHOT Show, but I've also reached out to Magpul. So they've got a new system out called the DACA system. It is it's a gun case. Right now they've got 3 different links for rifles, but it's basically a hard gun case, and it's got a grid system in it. and it uses some like blocks, like real rigid foam blocks, and you can move them around to fit whatever weapon you've got or you want to carry. The good thing about the DACA system is that you can use one gun case for a multitude of firearms. Take one firearm out, put another one in, and then build your blocks around that. And instead of like the Plano, of course I've got two, which are good systems. But anyway, they've got the Plano gun cases that are pluck foam. The only problem with pluck foam is after you pluck the foam out for that firearm, you unless you got an identical firearm with the same accessories or whatnot on it, it's not going to. I mean, it'll work, but it don't look right. So anyway, I've reached out to Magpul, see what they're going to do, if anything. Also want to give a shout out to Alex, the Apex Defense Group. He and I have been chatting back and forth over the last couple of weeks. You can check his website out at apexdefensegroup.com. He offers a multitude of classes, like over 150 or more classes, anything from weapon retention, weapon draw, one-hand shooting, weak hand shooting, one-hand reload, low light, nighttime shooting, situational awareness, blade defense classes, medical kit classes, medical training classes, Stop the Bleed. He's got a class called Stop the Bleed. He just offers just this wide range of training that any of us can use, whether you're even a firearm person or not. He's got some really good classes. So go check him out at apexdefensegroup.com. If you sign up for one, just let him know, that you saw my podcast or my video cast, and just, tell him, I sent you. That'll help me out as well, because we're going to try to work together a little bit. But anyway, that's really about it. I know this was a little bit longer, but I wanted to try to catch everybody up. All this stuff is changing day by day. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or Monday or when, but I personally, I think this is going to drop in the register. If it don't drop tomorrow, I look for it to drop in the next week or so. So, do what you're going to do. Think about what you're going to do, how you're going to handle it. But then again, back to my point a while ago, it's okay to talk about this stuff on social media with other people, get ideas, kind of see where everybody else is at. Don't mean you have to, follow what they're doing or change your mind because somebody else is doing something different, or your best friend's doing this, or, your cousin saying, hey, don't do this, do that. I mean, you do you. Because at the end of the day, if you're a gun owner, a responsible gun owner, the ball's in your court. You don't want to follow what somebody else does and then regret it, because then you'll be blaming them, and that ain't right either. So, but my point is, I don't think it's a good idea to. I guess it's okay to be discussing it on social media. If you want to say what you're going to do or not going to do on social media, that's up to you. You got big boy underwear on or big girl panties on, go ahead. But I don't think it's a good idea to be tagging ATF headquarters in your post. But yeah, that's just my opinion. So anyway, I want to thank you again. Check out the YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the bell. I'm going to be working on some video editing software, kind of spruce this up a little bit. I know this is kind of plain Jane, but I'm also multitasking until I get this all figured out and get my feet wet a little bit more. But anyway, I do appreciate you listening and watching, and stay tuned.